You know it and I know it. Editing can easily be the most time-consuming part of creating content. So what if there were ways to make it easier, take less time, spend more time doing what you like, or getting more clients or earning more doubloons? Well, the good news for you is that is kind of the point of why you and I are both here today. The art of creating. I need an idea. Maybe I should do this. Nah, done before. Maybe this? No one will care. Won't drive revenue. People are gonna hate me. This isn't gonna grow my brain. This is all pointless content. Aha. We've been there before, from idea generating to scripting to filming to editing being the most tedious of them all, saving the hardest for last. So when you know these ideas and you have these tools at your disposal that makes the process easier, it actually makes creating more of an enjoyable process and less of a dread. But who am I and why should you listen to anything that I have to say? Well, my name is Justin and I have been a full-time video editor for the last 6 years. I live, eat, breathe creating content. So over the last 6 years, I've picked up on some things that are truly valuable to the editing process that transform the way that you work because I have done it firsthand. I also just launched my product, the Editor's Essentials, which is built for Adobe Premiere Pro, and it's all the essentials that you need as an editor for Premiere. These are presets that I use in just about every single edit that I create that both make the editing process quicker and easier, kind of like what we're talking about today. So I highly recommend checking it out on my website, justinlisenby.com, and that is the best way to support me as this channel isn't even monetized yet. That helps me help you become a better creator, and you get quality presets that you're going to use in just about every single edit that you create. So the Editor's Essentials is going to be the top link of the description, and it would mean the world to me if you check that out. But without further ado, let's see what tools we have at our disposal to edit faster and better than we ever have. First on our list is going to be something that you either already know the power of or I'm about to change your life. This is a tool that's going to make motion graphics a million times easier and look way better. This one is called the transform tool. So if we go up to our effects window and we type in transform, it's going to be this one here under video effects, and then we can just drag and drop this on. So what is the premise of the transform tool? Well, it's what it sounds like. You have the ability to completely transform whatever element that you bring it on. It could be a video clip, an adjustment layer, or putting it onto a graphical element like text or an image. Before we get too deep, there's 3 types of motion graphics. There's into screen, on screen, and out of screen. Any kind of motion that you ever create is going to be one of these 3. You're either bringing something into it or some kind of motion while it's happening on the screen, or you're pulling it off of the screen. I say that because it matters when you're working with the transform tool to understand that, but that's going to make sense here in a second. First, let's start with bringing something into the screen. So I want to bring some text into the screen. So I'm just going to add some text. So now that we have this, we can add the transform effect onto it. And then you're going to see in your effect controls, the transform pop up. Just make sure that you are under the effect controls. And if you don't see that at all, you can go to window and hit effect controls. So we want to be keyframing within this tab. And so this is one that I want to bring it into the screen. So if I go to the very beginning of the clip, we can pull this off. We can then hit this stopwatch to create a keyframe, move it up a little bit, and then bring it back to the middle. So now we have a keyframe that looks like this, but it looks really bad. It's very linear and comes to a hard stop, and that's what we want to change. So if we highlight both these keyframes, right click to use temporal interpolation, and then hit Bezier, we can then hit this drop down and you're going to see these points. So this shows you the graph of what is happening to the keyframe. And because I'm bringing this into the screen, I want it to start fast and end slow. So this right point, this is the stop point. I want to bring this point all the way down to the bottom. And you can see the graph getting bigger or smaller. This is just showing you how fast the animation's happening. So typically with an end screen effect, I just want to usually bring this all the way to the left as far as I can. And now we can see what this looks like. So that's a lot better. So one thing is that you want to uncheck the use composition shutter angle and then turn the shutter angle all the way up to 360. So this adds in motion blur. So now we have this, and that looks way better. We can move this up a little bit so that way it starts faster. Now, if we go to the first point, you can see the text is kind of already in screen, so we can just adjust the keyframe down a bit. And just like that, we have a smooth animation. That is all possible because of the transform tool. But now what about an on-screen animation? It's not that much different. It's just the keyframes are going to look a little different. So I'm going to add in a new transform tool. And let's say I want to make the text go from the bottom to the top. So let's find our beginning point. Then again, uncheck this, turn this up to 360, and then we can hit the stopwatch to create our first keyframe. Then I can go over a little bit and then move this up to the top. So again, this is what we are now working with. Again, a very hard linear transition. So we want to highlight both, right click, temporal interpolation, hit Bezier. And now this is where it's going to look a little bit different when it's an on-screen animation. So before it's kind of like an S curve, and now we want it to peak in the middle. So all we got to do is bring these points down and kind of line it up to where this animation is peaking within the middle of the two keyframes, which that honestly looks good as is. So that's kind of what an on-screen animation will look like. It's this peak in the middle. And then the final one is if we're doing an off-screen animation, which is the exact same as the in-screen, it's just the polar opposite. So say I want to pull this off, we hit the stopwatch, move it up a little bit, and then bring it off the screen. Again, turn this off, turn this up, right click, do Bezier, and then we want to create that S curve again, or an exponential curve. And just like that, that is how you use the transform tool, and a very bare bones basics to how you create motion graphics. The majority of the presets that you can find within the editor's essentials is built around the transform tool, just because of how useful the transform tool is. But if you don't even want to bother with keyframes, shameless plug, the editor's essentials is the top link of the description. So that way you can save a bunch of time. But once you understand the concept of the transform tool, you'll be able to create just about any kind of motion graphic that you can think of. And motion graphics are a great way to create really high quality looking edits that stand out from everybody else. I'll be honest, there are times where I cannot stand Premiere, so much so that for a lot of my big long form projects, I don't even use Premiere. However, this one tool will solve the exact reason why I hate it. For context, I like to use Final Cut Pro, and let me just show you real quick why I like it so much. Okay, so we are now in Final Cut Pro. This is one of my projects for my main client, Cameron. And so looking at the timeline, say I do not want this clip. Typically what you see in a software like Premiere, if I delete this clip, you now have this dead space. However, Final Cut works a little bit different. So now if I just delete this clip, everything in my timeline just moved forward, like literally everything. Or if I want to undo it and make the clip longer, again, everything in the timeline moves back. If you've never heard of this, it is genuinely amazing and the biggest game changer I ever had with editing. Now, Premiere Pro does not have this, but this tool I'm about to show you actually gets us pretty dang close. This one is the ripple delete. So now you're looking at the project for this video in Premiere. To get a similar effect to the magnetic timeline in Final Cut, if we hit B on the keyboard, that brings us the ripple tool. So now you can see at the end of the clip, we get this little yellow arrow, and I can move this back if I want, and now everything in the timeline moves back. Or if I get rid of that adjustment layer, I can move this all the way forward if I want to. And this makes it way easier to work in the timeline in Premiere and not have to move everything in the timeline individually. And now there is a second step to this. So say I have a clip like this and I make a couple of cuts in it. Now I want to remove this section and say this is a big project where I have a ton of clips after it. I have a keybind set to close gap. So now if I delete this clip and I highlight these both, my keybind is set to Command B because it was just an empty space. These clips now just closed. And again, if you had a timeline full of footage, this is going to make it significantly easier and save you so much time with cutting out clips. And so if you have a big timeline and you don't want to highlight everything, my keybind is set to A. I think that is the default, where you can just click on the clip and it's going to select everything behind it. So then you could just hit Shift to select that main clip, do Command B. Again, you do need to set a keybind for that. And then everything is going to close. So it's not as simple as Final Cut is, but just with hitting a couple of keys on your keyboard, you can get essentially the exact same thing, which again, I've edited for 6 years, and this is single-handedly the biggest game changer I ever experienced. And so I originally was a Premiere editor. I switched to Final Cut strictly for that reason. And then I learned about this tool, and that completely just changed the way I looked at Premiere again. Get used to using this effect because it's going to save you so much time and effort. And once you start using it, you'll honestly never be able to not use it again. Sorry, not sorry. Premiere has never been known for being the best color grading software. All the clout goes to DaVinci, but I do think a lot of people overlook what you can do in Premiere if you need to, because I've never used DaVinci and I don't usually need to get crazy color grades, so something like this usually works pretty well. So if you're not familiar with color grading in Premiere, I would typically do this to an adjustment layer. That way you can just apply this to all your clips at once. And if you don't have an adjustment layer, you can come to your project bin and you can right click an empty space, new item, adjustment layer, and then just hit OK. And then you can drag and drop that on. So the effect that we want to look for is lumetri color. It is this one under color correction, and then we can apply that to the adjustment layer. And so you have all your basic color correction that you would find in any software. We're not going to get too deep into that. But what I do want to point out is the HSL secondary. What this does is this allows you to target a very specific color range. So that way you can get pretty precise with your color grades. So I'm going to uncheck the hue and saturation, and now we have the luminance. And this gray is showing you what it's masking out. So all the color that you see is what's going to be changed. So this top arrow, this changes your whole range. And then this bottom arrow kind of changes how it feathers out. So say I want to kind of target my skin tones. I can just find a range where I can see most of my skin at least. And then we can scroll down to the correction, and then we can change things like the contrast or saturation. So in Premiere, you can still get color grades that are pretty half decent. And so then if you wanted to target another specific color range, you can just drag and drop another lumetri color onto it and then target what you want. You can also target things like your curves. So if we bring up this last point, maybe set another point somewhere in here, this will bring up the blacks and the shadows. And so this kind of gives it a faded film look. So again, this is just simple, easy color grading that you can do in Premiere. And when you use the tools that you have, like the HSL secondary, you can get color grades that aren't half bad. And so that way you're not having to go into DaVinci or another software, then export it, put it back into Premiere, and deal with all that. Next on our list, I am a broken record about this, but it's because it makes editing so easy and repeatable. And as an editor, the worst thing that can happen is when you are burnt out and you hate editing. And I'm someone who's usually editing 40 hours a week. And without this, I don't think I would be doing it today or be anywhere near as far down the road as I am. But this one is to save your presets. And this is for everything that you do. This could be for effects, for color grades, for your exporting. When you do something once, see if you can save it as a preset, because that's the best part, is that you only have to create it once and then it's always done for you. And it's forever just a drag and drop away or one click away. So say we bring out the transform tool, and I'll just do an effect really quick. Okay, so say we have something like a camera pull like that, and we want to save it as a preset. All you would do in this case is just click the effect that you changed. If you have multiple, you can select both, and then you just right click and then hit save preset. And then I'm not going to save this because I already have presets like this, but all you would do is title it. You want to make sure it's an anchor to endpoint, outpoint, or scale, and then hit OK. So a scale is going to be based on the total length of the clip. The endpoint and outpoint, they are going to be keyframe specific. So something like a camera pull, I would want to do the endpoint so that way the keyframes are always the same. Once you do it once or twice, it's going to make sense as to which one you should choose. And then I already have presets saved, like the editor's essentials that you can see here. And the editor's essentials is an arsenal of all the presets that I always use, not the ones that I use once and never again. It's specifically the ones that I use in just about every single edit that I create. So it's a product that I sell, yes, but it's also my personal arsenal of presets that I'm always using. And once you start saving presets, your mind is going to be blown at how much easier editing just got. Because go ahead, I dare you, keyframe and zoom in manually 20 times per video, do 10 videos a week, and see how much you like it. Because you can also just do it once and save yourself from having to do that same zoom in 200 times or setting 400 individual keyframes. You see what I'm getting at? And in the editor's essentials, we have things like the audio effects, we got some LUTs, some animation presets. So essentially, saving presets is essential. And then finally on our list is a plugin that I actually just heard about recently, but don't worry, it's a free plugin that you can download. And if you don't have any sort of system for this at all, your editing workflow is about to completely change. This one is called Portal. You can go to their website, knightsoftheeditingtable.com, and then you can download it here for free. And then once you get it set up, it might take a little bit of time, but it's going to be completely worth it. What Portal does is if I go up here I have all of my essential assets that I'm always using. So I have my film burn pack because I always use it. I have my music folder, my whooshes, and sound effects. So if I go into the whooshes, for example, that's going to bring up my folder. So the reason why this might take a little bit of time is you want to kind of gather all of your assets and then put them into folders, which is going to make it super easy. So that way you can just come up to Portal, click on what you need, like my film burn pack, and then I have my folder right here ready to go. So I'm not having to go through my computer, digging through everything, trying to find it. It's just going to be one click away. I personally have a Stream Deck, so I don't have a huge use for this because it's essentially the same thing. But if you're not trying to spend $100 on a Stream Deck, this is a free way to get essentially the same thing. And so when you have all of your assets here ready to go for you, it's going to clear out so much headspace and make the whole editing process a lot easier. And when you start doing more edits, the more you're going to realize what you need consistently. So it might be certain visuals like those film burns or sound effects or music, and this is going to help you make it one click away. So Portal is an absolute game changer that you must have. And just like that, we have 5 real tactics and tools that you can start using right away that's going to make editing so much easier and enjoyable. That way you can focus on improving your craft, getting more client work out, or posting more of your content, you name it. These are all real things that I use all the time as somebody who needs to be able to edit fast with quality, as it's my full-time job. And again, I have the Editor's Essentials top link of the description, and I got some more products in the works for you guys, but I cannot express it enough that this product is literally designed to save you time in the editing process. So if you edit consistently, it's going to earn itself right back. And like I said in the beginning of the video, that is my only sort of monetization on this channel, so that is the best way to support me. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you being here to the end of the video, listening to my rants. And if you want to see a video where I teach you how to create clean and aesthetic Instagram reels, I'm going to leave a video right here for you to go check out, and I will see you over there.